All right, let's dive in today with a figure everyone's heard of, right? Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
And it's easy to just think, battles,
Right.
conquests.
Big battles.
Exactly, but our listener wants to go deeper
I like it.
than just the Great Conqueror thing, and I think
Yeah.
we've got the stuff to do that.
Yeah.
You sent over some excerpts, right? From that history.com article,
Yeah.
and also the Wikipedia page on Alexander.
Yes.
So I think we got a lot to work with here.
Yeah, those are great starting points. Definitely a lot there.
And something that really stood out to me from the history.com piece
Oh, yeah.
was that, obviously everyone knows about Aristotle, right?
Right.
As his teacher.
His tutor, yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't realize he had run-ins with other philosophers.
Oh, yeah, no, he definitely did.
And notably,
Yeah.
Diogenes.
Diogenes.
Yeah.
The cynic.
Who lived in a, what was it?
Clay jar, yeah.
Yeah.
Famous for that.
A clay jar.
Yeah. Rejected all worldly possessions,
Like, can you imagine that scene, though?
Oh, it's got to be wild, right?
This guy.
The most powerful dude.
At the time.
Yeah, at that time.
Yeah.
Seeking out this guy who's just like, I don't need anything.
I mean nothing, yeah.
But what do you think he was hoping to get out of that?
Oh, man. It's got to be something about, like, maybe he was envious of that, Like that complete rejection of material wealth and power.
You think so?
Because Alexander, he's all about that,
Yeah.
So maybe there was a part of him that admired that simplicity,
That's interesting.
Yeah. Some historians think that he may have been drawn to that kind of freedom that Diogenes represented. Freedom from the burdens of power and responsibility.
Makes you wonder what they even talked about, right?
Oh, I know, right? Did they find any common ground at all?
Yeah.
Diogenes was all about virtue, living in accordance with nature.
Right.
Whereas Alexander was driven by this kind of thirst for glory and conquest, right?
Yeah.
It's such a stark contrast.
Totally different.
But maybe they both, thought about those deeper questions about life, the meaning of life.
Like, what are we doing here?
Exactly. What's a good life?
Right. And it wasn't just him, right?
No.
History.com also mentions that that Alexander talked with.
He talked to the gymnosophists in India.
Gymnosophists?
Gymnosophists, yeah.
Wow.
They're also known as the naked philosophers.
What?
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Okay.
And they renounced like all material possessions. They were all about like spiritual enlightenment.
So it seems like he sought these guys out.
He did.
Different
perspectives, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, you think of Alexander as this conqueror, but he was clearly interested in ideas, right?
He was willing to engage with different schools of thought, even those that challenged his own views.
Like what a contrast.
Huge contrast
between, these guys and his own life.
I know, right? Like Alexander's all about power, conquest.
Yeah.
These guys are all about like inner peace and rejecting the material world.
Totally. So maybe he was questioning his own path,
It's possible, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. We don't often think about him that way, but maybe there was more to him than just the conqueror.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Let's switch gears a bit.
Sure.
To, history.com says he was undefeated.
In battle, yeah. 15 years.
15 years.
Not a single loss.
Not one.
It's pretty amazing when you think about
it. I know. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
So what makes that even more impressive, though?
Well, the Wikipedia entry, it gives us some more detail.
Oh, okay.
And it's not just about not losing.
Yeah. Right? It's how he did it.
Yeah.
Like his tactics, his strategy, the brilliance of it all.
So he wasn't just lucky.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
This guy was a military genius,
And the History.com article, it talks about the Macedonian phalanx.
Oh, yeah, the phalanx.
Right.
A formidable force.
And they had those long spears, right?
The sarissa.
Sarissa,
yeah, they could be like 20 feet long.
What?
Imagine that. You're facing an army with 20-foot spears.
Yeah, no thanks.
I know, right? So that gave them a huge advantage in battle.
So they just kind of...
Well, it wasn't just about the spears themselves, right? It was about discipline.
Okay.
Coordination.
Right.
Knowing how to use them effectively,
Like it wasn't just a bunch of guys with long sticks.
Exactly.
Right.
They had to move in unison, adapt to different terrains.
Right.
And Alexander, he knew how to use that phalanx, you know,
Right.
to its full potential. Yeah, so like, I mean, we see this in the Wikipedia entry when it talks about like the Battle of Issus.
Issus, yeah. Classic example.
Right.
He used the terrain to his advantage there. The battlefield was really narrow.
Okay.
Which you think would be a disadvantage.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Right. But he saw it as an opportunity.
Okay.
He was able to concentrate his forces.
Yeah.
Outmaneuver the Persians, who had a much larger army.
Wow.
He really understood the importance of flanking maneuvers, you know,
Okay.
exploiting the weaknesses in the enemy's lines.
Smart.
He was a master of that kind of thing.
Yeah, so it wasn't just like, oh, we have more guys, we win.
No. It was much more nuanced than that.
And Gaugamela.
Oh, Gaugamela, yeah.
Another big win.
Huge victory
For him.
against Darius, King Darius.
And they had a massive army there, right?
Massive army.
Like, how did he pull that off?
Oh, he used this brilliant tactic, right?
Okay.
He pretended to retreat.
Oh, wow.
Which drew the Persian chariots forward, and then, bam, he unleashes his companion cavalry.
Okay.
And that disciplined phalanx.
So he was playing the long game.
He was playing the long game, yeah.
Yeah.
He anticipated their moves, you know?
Yeah.
And he knew exactly how to counter them.
That's so cool. So it's just like mind-blowing to think about the strategy involved. It wasn't just, you know, luck.
It was calculated.
Yeah.
Every move was calculated.
Right.
He really understood warfare like nobody else.
Like he was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, and
it's remarkable, you know, when you think about it.
Yeah.
He combined, you know, this raw power of the phalanx with this incredible strategic mind.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And it wasn't just the battles, right? History.com mentions all those cities he founded.
Oh yeah, he founded
over 70.
What?
I know. A lot of them Alexandrias, obviously.
Right. The Wikipedia entry has a map.
Okay.
It really shows you like how huge his empire was.
It was vast.
Dotted with these cities.
Yeah, all intended as like centers of Greek culture.
So basically, he was trying to spread Greek everything, right? Language, art, ideas.
Exactly. That's Hellenization.
Right. Hellenization. But I mean, you know how it is. History's written by the winners.
Always.
What does Wikipedia say about the people whose cultures got kind of, you know...
overtaken.
Yeah, like,
right.
Was it all good for them?
Well, it's complicated.
Right.
Hellenization had its pluses and minuses. You know, some people welcomed it.
Sure, like, hey, new stuff.
Right, exactly. Saw it as progress.
Yeah.
But others saw it as, like, cultural domination.
Makes sense.
And they resisted it. Right. Wikipedia has examples of both.
So it wasn't all sunshine and roses, basically.
Not exactly, no. There was definitely exploitation, resentment, mixed in with the good stuff.
Right, that's what I figured.
Yeah, it's something historians still debate, actually.
Interesting.
Like how much was genuine cultural exchange and how much was just forcing it on people.
That makes sense. And then there's this thing History.com mentions that I thought was funny.
Oh, yeah.
He named a city after his horse.
Oh, Bucephala. For Bucephalus.
Bucephalus.
His beloved steed.
Okay, wait, what's the story there? Wikipedia says?
Well, legend has it Bucephalus was this wild horse. Nobody could tame him.
Oh, wow.
And then young Alexander comes along, figures it out.
Really?
Yep. And they were best buds from then on.
Oh, that's kind of sweet, actually.
Right. It shows a different side of him.
Totally. Like this invincible conqueror, totally devoted to his horse.
Exactly. It humanizes him.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what else we're missing about him, you know?
Right. There's got to be more to the story than just the conquests.
And speaking of, you know, personal connections.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about Roxana.
Roxana, okay.
History.com makes it sound super romantic, you know, after he conquers Sogdian Rock.
Yes, the love story angle.
Right, but Wikipedia's like, hold on, he had multiple wives.
Multiple wives, yeah.
Including Persian princesses.
Which were strategic marriages, for sure.
Right, political alliances, all that.
Exactly.
So was Roxana real love or just a smart move?
That's the question, isn't it? It could be both. You can't rule it out.
Right. He was good at that, like playing the long game.
He was a master strategist, on and off the battlefield.
It makes you wonder what he was really thinking.
You can never really know with these historical figures.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, this one's from History.com, and it's just weird.
Let's hear it.
Apparently, Alexander had this agreeable odor.
Agreeable odor.
Yeah, like not just good hygiene, but a nice smell coming from his skin.
Interesting, interesting.
Right.
Oh, you got to think about it in context,
Okay.
Back then, a good scent was associated with the gods.
So it wasn't just about smelling nice.
No, it was about projecting this image of being, like, divine.
Right, and Wikipedia mentions he really leaned into that.
Oh, yeah, he claimed descent from Zeus Ammon.
Right, and made people bow down to him.
Proskynesis, yeah. Persian custom, but it worked for him.
So was he really buying into this God King thing, or was it just a power play?
Again, tough to say for sure. Could be both.
He knew how to use symbols, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, very savvy.
So even this agreeable odor, whether it was real or not,
Right.
it fed into that image.
Absolutely, it all played a part.
Makes you think about how leaders use image today, too,
It's all about perception.
Totally. Okay, History.com mentions Alexander's death.
Ah, yes, the big mystery.
Right, only 32 years old.
So young.
And of course, everyone thinks poison, right?
Well, it's a popular theory.
But Wikipedia says there's a bunch of different accounts.
Different suspects, different motives.
Like who?
Well, some say Antipater, one of his generals.
Okay.
Others say maybe Aristotle, his old teacher, was involved.
No way.
I know, right?
Crazy.
But some think it was natural causes, like typhoid fever.
So we really don't know.
Nope, it's a historical whodunit.
Wow, that's wild. And it gets even weirder.
Oh.
Wikipedia talks about these last plans.
The last plans, yes.
I mean, all these ambitious projects he wanted to do.
He supposedly outlined them before he died.
Right.
Gave them to his general, Craterus.
And these plans were, like...
huge public works, explorations, even circumnavigating Africa.
Wait, circumnavigating Africa? Back then?
That was the idea, yeah. It sounds crazy, right?
I mean, they barely knew the world back then.
I know, but that was Alexander, always pushing the limits.
Oh, did they ever do any of this stuff?
Nope, his successors basically said, nah, too much.
Really?
Yeah, impractical, too expensive. Some even said it was just ridiculous.
That's kind of a bummer, like what could have been.
It's a real what-if moment in history.
Yeah, totally. So we've covered the military stuff, Hellenization, his personal life, his image, his mysterious death, these crazy last plans. But, the big question is, was he truly great? History.com says yes.
They focus on the victories, the impact he had.
Right, but is that all it takes?
That's where it gets tricky. Greatness is subjective, There's the brutality, the exploitation.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Right. Can we call someone great who did all that?
And Wikipedia mentions Persepolis, the Persian capital.
Ah, Persepolis.
Alexander destroyed it, right?
He did, yes. Very controversial.
Some say it was revenge for the Persians burning Athens.
Right, an eye for an eye.
But others say he was just drunk and destructive.
There are different interpretations.
So how do we square that with him being a good leader?
Well, it reminds us he was human, not just a statue we admire.
Right, he had flaws.
He did. Capable of great things, but also capable of terrible things.
Yeah, and Wikipedia tells this story about Cletus the Black.
Cletus, yes.
Yeah.
One of Alexander's top generals.
But he criticized Alexander once, right?
At a feast, they were both drunk. Cletus said Alexander was going too far with the whole adopting Persian customs thing.
Like abandoning his own culture.
Exactly. And Alexander, well, he didn't take it well.
Oh, man.
Killed Cletus right there with a spear.
Wow, that's intense.
It was a rash act. He regretted it later, but still...
Shows his temper, right.
Yeah. He could be impulsive, even violent.
So, not exactly the hero image.
No, it complicates things. Makes us think harder about who Alexander really was.
So it's not easy to say if he was great or not.
It's not a simple yes or no. You have to look at everything, the good and the bad.
That's what makes history so interesting, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what makes, studying history so interesting, right?
Yeah.
It's not about heroes and villains.
Well,
it's about understanding people.
Right.
Their ambitions, their contradictions,
Yeah, and Wikipedia mentions how Alexander's image...
Oh, yeah.
...has been used by, all these rulers throughout history.
It's true.
To make themselves look more powerful.
Exactly, yeah, from Roman emperors to Indian sultans.
Wow.
They all used him, his image, his military success.
To basically say, hey, I'm like Alexander.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm the next Alexander.
That's crazy. So he's become like this symbol.
Almost an archetype.
Yeah, of power, ambition.
The conqueror.
Right, and that's why, like, we have to be careful, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We can't just buy into this heroic conqueror story.
No, we have to look at the whole picture.
The good and the bad.
The brutality, the manipulation.
Exactly. So after all this, how do we define his legacy?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Is great even the right word?
I don't know. It's complicated.
Yeah.
We've seen the military genius, the impact he had.
Right.
But we've also seen the dark side.
Yeah, the destruction, the violence.
It's all part of the story.
I guess it's up to each of us to decide then.
I think so, yeah. We've looked at the evidence, heard different perspectives.
Right.
Now you have to weigh it all and come to your own conclusions.
That's a good point. It's not about easy answers, right?
No, history is messy. It's full of contradictions.
And that's okay.
Yeah, that's what makes it so fascinating.
I feel like I have more questions now than when we started.
That's a good sign. It means you're thinking critically?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're not just accepting things at face value?
Right, right. So, here's something to think about.
Okay.
Imagine you could go back in time, talk to Alexander.
Interesting.
What would you ask him?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. So many possibilities.
Right.
Would you ask about his battles?
Yeah, or his vision for his empire.
Or maybe challenge him on his actions.
Right, the destruction, the lives lost.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. Well, that's about all the time we have for today.
It flew by.
I know, right? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive
Always a pleasure.
into the world of Alexander the Great.
Fascinating guy.
We hope you learned something, thought about some things.
And maybe even questioned a few things.
Exactly. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep.
Tell us what you think about this episode. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.